Hey guys, long time no talk. It's been a day for you. It's been like 10 seconds for me. So I'm just gonna continue on with part 2 of this Q&A. So I'm like possibly halfway through these questions. I just talk way too damn much to contain them into one video, but I really want to answer all your questions. Before I jump into this video, I want to ask you guys a question. One of the most common questions that I was getting was, what is like the most underhyped or the not talked about books or like hidden gem type of book that you would recommend to people? I want to know what your answer for that is. Do you have a hidden gem type of book that you would strongly recommend to me? Leave it down in the comments. I'm just curious. I'm just starting this Q&A off with a question for you guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right back into the questions, right where I stopped in yesterday's video. I'm just gonna pick up right there. So I'm on to Reads Readers, who asks, what is your most underhyped book you think we as readers need to devour? Ooh, good question. I feel like I need to sit back and look at my shelves for this. The First Time She Drowned by Carrie Clutter, I think deserves a lot more recognition. This is very hit or miss for a lot of people. I know a lot of people DNF'd it, but a lot of people also loved it, so I think this deserves like the chance to be loved. For all you readers out there who are just like me and can identify with the fact that when I pitch a book as being extremely disturbing, you're intrigued, I'm gonna pitch The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. This is a really awesome story that you'll devour in one sitting if you're into really messed up stuff. So be forewarned before going into this that it's a dark one, but it's so good. I'm also gonna recommend The Wood by Chelsea Babolsky. This book was not at all what I thought it was gonna be, and it was like so well done. It was just, this is a good book. I'm gonna recommend this one. It's very underhyped, but I think it deserves a lot. Also, how about an underhyped author you think more of us need to read their books? Huh. I should have prepared for this. Let me look at my shelves real quick. First, I'm gonna say Hillary Jordan, who wrote When She Woke. This book is one of those books that is so eye-opening and so thought-provoking, and she just has a way of developing a world that is like scarily believable. So definitely check out this book, if nothing else, by her. And I think just because it's a UK author, it doesn't get as much hype on like US BookTube, but Sarah Bernard, who wrote A Quiet Kind of Thunder, her writing is just extremely relatable. Like, she gets into the heads of those of us who have some severe anxiety and just like puts it on paper exactly how your mental cycles go. So Sarah Bernard, definitely check her out. And on the same note, who is your favorite author of all time? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of hard to answer because I'm a mood reader, so like my favorite author for like fantasy might be different from my favorite author of like thriller. I feel like I will auto buy Maggie Stiefvater, Mindy McGinnis, and of course Sarah J. Maas, but I don't know if those are necessarily like my favorite authors of all time. I mean, as far as like timeless books go, obviously J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter, like that's awesome, but I don't care for her adult stuff. So I don't know. Okay, and what is your favorite book of all time? Okay, all of these questions are literally the hardest questions that you can ask a book person. Favorite book of all time? This is so hard. My go-to answer for this is The Child Thief by Bram. It's a really, really dark retelling of Peter Pan. It's an adult fantasy story. Bram is kind of a fantasy illustrator slash writer. So there's like illustrations in the center of the book of his characters, how he pictures them, which is really cool, but it's a very dark adult fantasy story. And I haven't read it in a long time, so I don't know if it holds up to like the test of time, but that's kind of my go-to answer. I don't know. McMile asks, what do you and your fiance do for a living? So, okay, getting into recent updates in my life. Both me and Randy actually worked in manufacturing. He still does. We worked in a mattress factory. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the tea. Let me grab my tea. Here's the tea. When it comes to people like me who kind of didn't finish college and don't know what to do, a field that you can get into that you make really good money without having a degree is manufacturing, at least in the US. Like, you can make really decent money there. That's why I'm able to buy as many books as I want, because you get a lot of hours, you make good money doing it. Is it good for your sanity? No, because I was regularly working 60 to 70 hour long work weeks, which is not okay. Like, it's not healthy to do that. I would start work at 5 and leave around 7:30 at night. Like, start at 5 a.m., which means my alarm goes off at 3:45 a.m. and I would not get home until about 7:30 at night. That's not okay. And you get treated like dirt at most factories. I'm not speaking for all, but the management in our factory that we worked at was terrible, so I reached breaking point and I just stopped going. Like, I just quit a couple weeks ago, actually. So he's still there. He actually has a very good position there with a very good boss, so he is happy there. He actually is just like the receiving person, so he's the person who drives around on forklift and moves trucks around on the lot and everything, so he makes really good money. He actually has a very good boss, and he's very happy there. Me, on the other hand, I was not. It was bad. So, as of a couple weeks ago, I am unemployed. I've never not had a job since I turned 16. Like, I've literally been working since I was 16, so the past couple weeks have been strange for me because I haven't fully adjusted to not going to work. But yes, I am job hunting, and as I'm filming this, I have 2 working interviews tomorrow and the next day. So as you're watching this, I'm probably at one of them, but I'm going in for a couple shifts at an animal rescue and at a pet boarding dog care type facility. So I'm very excited and hopeful about those positions, but as of right now, literally nothing, and it's amazing. I'm just reading all the time. And I feel like I should give the preface that we are very financially okay because we worked obscene amount of hours. So I'm fortunate enough that we are able to afford me not working for a couple weeks while I find a job. So I do not recommend that to a lot of people, but that's just kind of our current situation. Okay, and I think that's all of the questions that are on the video, so I'm gonna turn over to my phone for Instagram questions, and I'm gonna apologize. I failed miserably at the ask me a question thing on Instagram because I forgot to screenshot a lot of them. So apologies to anybody who asked me a question and my story went away and I couldn't save the questions. But these are the ones that I did save. All Things Christine asks, if you could jump into a world inside of a book, which one would it be and why? Obviously, Hogwarts, Harry Potter, that would be amazing, but outside of that answer, I'm gonna go with my other cliche one, and I wanna go to the Night Court. Duh. But when did you start riding horses? I wanna say I was probably 6 or 7 when I started riding lessons. I know there were definitely times that I was just plunked up on a horse as like an infant, so I feel like literally forever. Like when I was a toddler, I know my mom would just like plop me up on a horse because we lived in like horse country, so a lot of our like friends had farms that we could go and do that on. So a long time ago. Which character do you dislike the most? Oh, that's a good question. Oh man, let me think, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna go with a somewhat controversial answer. I'm gonna say Scarlet. Was that even her name? I wanna say it's Scarlet from Caraval, the main protagonist in Caraval. I just did not care for her. She was annoying and whiny, and I just didn't like reading from her mind because I was like, you're dumb. Scarlet Fox asks, when did you start to read and have a connection to books? I kind of briefly touched on this on a recent video. I have always been a reader. Like, I don't exactly know when I started reading. I would have to ask my mom when I learned how to read. But we were always read to as kids. Like, my mom always read to me and my brother, and I just have kind of always been a reader. There was never like a light bulb moment where I was just like, oh, reading is amazing. I've just always had a love for it, whether it was forced onto me in school or not. Honestly, I was that kid when we had to read a book in school, I secretly was just like, yes, and I would read the whole thing in a night. I was that kid in class. Sorry if you didn't like those people. Scarlet Fox also asks, what's your favorite book? I'm gonna go back to The Child Thief, I guess. Shells Books asks, have you considered having Napoleon make your life decisions since he's so great at picking TBRs? You know, I should. He is pretty great at decision making. Also, favorite hidden gem of a book, independently published or a great book people do not talk about. I'm gonna go back to When She Woke. I think that this is an awesome book that I've never really seen people talk about, and it blew my mind when I read it, and I wanted to talk about it with people. Like, in my mind, this is up there with like Scythe and The Power that have come out recently. Who wrote The Power? Naomi something something. As far as like thought-provoking societal changes and how it would affect the world, this is one of those stories that I definitely wish that more people talked about, and I think it was amazingly done. Next question, favorite place to read? on the couch or in bed, to be honest. I'm kind of one of those like weird position readers. Like I don't like sitting in a chair to read. I like to just kind of like sprawl out everywhere and be comfortable. So probably like sprawled out on the couch or in my bed to read. How many animals do you have? 7. How many would you like to have? The limit does not exist, people. All of them. All of the animals. How old are you? I'm 28. I know, I'm old. Get off my lawn. What is your favorite kind of music? Okay, I have a weird eclectic mix of music taste. I'm a huge fan of indie rap. I have endless recommendations if you're looking to get into smaller known rappers. And I have to go back to, honestly, like 90s, early 2000s pop punk is like my jam. If I'm like in a car with some people and I need to put on some music that everybody's gonna jam to, honestly putting on like the Blink-182 Pandora playlist is the shit. Like Sum 41, Taking Back Sunday, Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, those days are amazing. Even if you want to get into like harder stuff like Seosin, I love Seosin. Yes, just any of that stuff. I'm down with it. And then which book or books will you recommend to somebody who's getting over a reading slump? For me, since I'm a mood reader, if I'm not in the mood to read anything, I'm gonna stay in the slump. So I pretty much just have to like look at my shelves and find something that's calling to me. My general go-to is contemporary or new adult or smut. Something that's very easy to digest where you don't have to like kind of learn a different world or different like magic abilities or anything. Just something set in our world that's just dealing with a fluffy romance or something is very easy and mindless to get into, and that usually helps me. What is your favorite book series? Obviously the ACOTAR series. We all know that I'm obsessed with that series. Besides that, I'm gonna say probably the Magicians trilogy by Lev Grossman. I'm a huge fan of that trilogy. It's very dark, and I've learned that it is very much not for everybody, so I'm not gonna constantly recommend it to people. And I believe that is it for all of the questions. Like I said in yesterday's video, I'm definitely going to do a Meet My Animals video to kind of encompass all of the questions that you guys asked surrounding them. I'll just do an introduction and backstory to all of them. Hopefully I can keep that somewhat short. Probably not. It's not likely, considering that this got expanded into 2 videos. So that is going to be it. Thank you again, guys, for all of the amazing questions. And that's gonna wrap up this video. I will see you guys in my next one. We will get back to regularly scheduled programming in the next video. So I will see you then.